Hi everybody, I'm Coach Bob McCreary from baseballbytheyard.com. When we come back, I'm going to show you 3 things that all runners have to do when they are running down the first base line and touching first base. 3 things everybody's got to do. I'll tell you when I come back. All right, folks, if you have been a follower of baseballbytheyard.com, whether it's in written form on my written articles and blog posts or my videos, you've probably heard me say that one of the easiest parts of the game should be base running. However, it very often is the most screwed up aspect of the game, is because nobody practices it. Nobody focuses their attention on base running, or very few people do. And I see one mistake after another in the area of base running, and that should not be. So today's post is to help with that, and I'm going to show you the 3 things that all runners have to do when they are flying down trying to beat out a play at first base. Okay, so number 1, no exceptions, all runners have to touch the front of the bag. Now, based on the camera angle, you may not be able to see all that well, but my heel is touching the dirt, and the front half of my foot is touching the front part of the bag, okay? That is a must. It doesn't matter what foot I touch the bag with, whatever gets there in stride, that's the one I'm gonna touch, okay? Left or right, but I have to touch first base on the front part. Now here's the problem. Some kids won't do this correctly, and they will tag first base as they're running by, and they'll hit the top of the bag. Now first off, they're making their job harder because the front part of the bag is about 6 inches closer to home plate. So I can get to the bag faster if I touch the front part of the bag. It's also a little more dangerous because, especially in wet conditions, if you have little kids who aren't allowed to wear metal spikes, they wear those molded cleats, it can be slippery. So if the bag is wet and they touch the top of the bag, their foot can slide, and we've all seen some bad injuries, twisted ankles, broken ankles, because of that. Okay, so tip number 1, all runners, no exceptions, either foot, have to touch the very front of the bag. Okay, the second thing I want all my runners to do is immediately after hitting the front part of the bag, their head is going to turn to the right. Okay, so they're running down the line, they hit the front of the bag, and then they look to the right. The reason why I want my runners to get in the habit of looking to the right is in case the ball gets past the first baseman. I want to be able to see that as a runner. I do not want to have to rely on my first base coach to tell me to go, because if I am relying on my first base coach, there's going to be a delay between the time he says go and I register it and then go. If I see it, then I can immediately go and I can save some time. I'm more likely to be safe. So tip number 1, touching the front of the bag with either foot. Tip number 2, after I touch the bag, I immediately look to the right to see if I can pick up the ball. Now, another reason for looking to the right is very often an overthrow is going to be behind me. I'm focusing on the bag, and the ball may be coming behind me. I may not see that the first baseman caught the ball or not. And so that's why we look to the right. In case we haven't seen it before that, we can pick it up after the fact. Front of the bag, look to the right. And the third tip for today is to always stop on the foul line. Okay? Now, in order for me to stop my momentum as I'm running down the line full speed, after I touch the bag, I look to the right, and I widen my feet, and I chop down. That's what a lot of coaches will call it. I chop down, and that's going to enable me to stop. Now, the benefit of stopping on the line is if the ball is thrown past the first baseman, if I'm on a regulation size field, I only have a 90-foot run to first base. But a lot of little league base runners are incorrectly taught to hit the bag and then immediately peel off in the foul territory, okay? Now, I get why they do it. It is because they don't want any confusion as to whether they can be tagged out for rounding first base. The rule says that I have to make an attempt to go to second base before I'm out, okay? So if I cross the bag, I see the ball goes past, and I even make one step towards second base, now I could be tagged out. But if I just come through the bag and stop right on the line and turn around and come back, I've made no attempt to go to second base. So there's no reason why I should ever be tagged out, okay? So stopping on the line is going to enable me to take a shorter distance to second base should I have to run to second. If I am that little leaguer who has been taught to run through the bag and peel off to the right, now I notice the ball is past the first baseman, I might have a much longer run to second base and I might be out. All right, so there's a lot of little things that I can add to this, but the three big ones for today: touch the very front of the bag with either foot, look to the right after you pass the bag, and then widen your feet and stop right on the foul line, so that if I have to go to second, it's the shortest distance possible. All right, folks, that's going to do it for today. I'm Coach Bob McCreary from baseballbytheyard.com. Until next time, keep getting out there and practice, raising that baseball IQ. I am out.